put them inside their own special, so their own special thing. I know.
There's also another picture of me above my Sedona Palms picture too, so if anybody wants to look at it. I can honestly say that I haven't seen these pictures for like several years now.
We're gonna talk story. You guys are who's from Hawaii?
Who's from Hawaii?
Yeah. Remember in Hawaii we talk story.
Talk stories.
Yeah. So here we're gonna show.
Stories from Hawaii. What kind of stories are we talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, here Adina's gonna tell her story.
Okay. So anyways, I haven't seen these pictures in like forever. And when I decided to bring a picture today, I opened up this file that I hadn't looked at for years, and I almost threw up, to be quite honest with you. I actually was sick just simply looking at myself, and not for any reason, as I couldn't believe that was me. I honestly could not believe that was me. I weigh 158 pounds right now. I'm going to be honest with you. This is the lowest weight I have ever been in my entire life relative to my height and age. So I was fat as a baby, I was fat as a kid, I was fat as a teenager, fat as an adult. My first diet, I was 11 years old. I was 11 years old when the doctor put me on a diet. And it wasn't like Dr. Anderson, who was supportive and really great and had this great program and stuff. No, it was you have to eat only 1,000 calories a day. You cannot have any sweets. You cannot enjoy anything. You have to lose weight. Have a great life. Good luck. And that's what it was. That's what it was for me. All through my entire life, I have been overweight. High school. Oh my gosh. I went to high school in the 80s. Kids are cruel, mean people. I was sexually harassed. I was abused psychologically, physically, emotionally abused. Told over and over and over again, you're too fat to do this, you're too fat to do that. I'm a trained singer. I have a trained vocal voice. I've spent years training my voice. I was in theater, but never got any good parts or never had the opportunity to sing or to use my voice because I was too fat. Even though I could out-sing, out-act everybody else, I was too fat. So I didn't have that opportunity. It's just, you're stuck in this body and you don't want it. You have this spirit inside of you that just wants to come out and wants to just be something else. And you're being trapped by your body. And there's nothing you can do. You feel totally helpless by it. When I got to college was great. I met my husband in college, great guy, love him. He's been very supportive, but he fell in love with me at 250 pounds. He fell in love with the 250-pound Adina. Okay, that's who he fell in love with. Okay, and I appreciate and that's great. Yeah, you're clapping, and that's really wonderful. And then you guys, oh yeah, he's such a great guy for falling in love with 250-pound woman. That's really wonderful. Yeah. That was a problem, though. Yeah. Okay, is that now that I'm 150 pounds, I'm not that anymore. And I'm a totally different person. And it changes not only who you are, but your relationships with your family. It changes your relationships with your spouse. It changes your relationship with your children. I always tell my daughter, she is actually my inspiration, my daughter Hannah. Hannah is 11 years old. Hannah is 11 years old, and Hannah has the self-confidence that I wish I had at 11 years old. She has the body that I wish I had at 11 years old. And I came to a point in my life where I topped off at 300. Wow. Topped off at 300. Came to a point where I couldn't do this anymore. I couldn't do this to my kids. I couldn't do it to myself. I couldn't do it to my husband. I couldn't do it to anybody anymore. And through a series of events, I ended up having bariatric surgery. I had the Roux-en-Y surgery in 2006. I was 262 pounds the day of my surgery. In 1 year, I lost 100 pounds. That's great. That's fantastic. I did a great job. I lost 100 pounds. By 2010, last year, guess what started happening? The weight started coming back on. And that's when it got scary. because I realized that, oh yeah, I had this gastric bypass, but this isn't going to fix it. And now I'm like, no, I'm never going to do it again. I don't want to be that anymore. That's not what I want. Thank God for Dr. Anderson. Oh my gosh. I just blessed the day I met Dr. Anderson. You know, I went to see him because I couldn't sleep. Okay? And just through a series of really strange events, found out my mother was seeing him too, and I didn't know. And, you know, he told my mother about this program. He said, oh yeah, you know, bring Adina along, you know, she might be really interested in it. And I came, and I remember having tears in my eyes, listening to him talk, and hearing the story, and just not so much hearing him talking about the program, but just his compassion. And I'm sorry, don't be embarrassed you, Dr. Anderson. I really don't, but oh my gosh, I've never met anybody like you in my entire life. I have not met anybody like you. You really care about people. And there's so many people in the medical community who don't. They don't. And so, you know, I figured I'm doing this. And the first week, oh my gosh, guys, the first week, oh, I was this close to quitting. It wasn't until one of our trainers took me into that room over there privately. Nobody else, and this you guys didn't know until this moment, I'm going to tell you. She literally shoved me in front of the mirror. She put me in front of it. She said, look at yourself. I mean, look at yourself. And I'm like, I don't want to look. She's like, look at yourself. And she used a few expletives to tell me to look at myself. And I did. And I saw what I'm supposed to be. I saw this. I saw what I was striving to be. And I wasn't going to quit.
That's right.
I was going to keep going. And it's just been a great ride. And I just want everybody to join in. This is an awesome ride. Join in on it. So thank you, Dr. Anderson. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Just a couple of things you mentioned on there, which is really interesting. I want to mention is she talked about gastric bypass. What do you think the 5-year failure rate for gastric bypass is?
Pretty high.
About 60%. 60% failure rate. Any program out there has a 96% 2-year failure rate. So to help somebody is really hard, and I think the concept is different. We treat this as a food addiction. All of us are struggling to manage our health. I don't think there's anybody in here that ever had to feel like they wanted to be healthier. And it's a food addiction. And so by that, we came up with this thing with group therapy where you help each other support to reach each other's goals. And she mentioned a couple other things there. How much do you think if somebody had an obese child and somebody had a thin child, this is really interesting. What do you think the odds are that the obese child is going to get funding from the parents versus the thin child? This is very sad. The odds are is that obese child has a 35% chance less of getting support from the parents than the thin child. Isn't that sad?
And yeah, that's true.
And let me tell you this. And okay, if you had somebody, what do you think of the chance? How many thousands of dollars an obese person versus a thin person? How many thousands of dollars is an obese person going to make less in their career, doing the same thing, having the same qualifications? How many thousands of dollars on average do you think somebody who is obese is going to make less than their thin counterpart? About $18,000 less. We're doing the same job, doing the same thing. And they'll work harder, they'll take the brunt, they'll get the abuse from the office because they have to prove themselves to make themselves feel like they're part of it. And so, and the biggest part of it is self-esteem. So this program is built for self-esteem building. Because when you have a group of 12 to 25 people working hard together, they can go to the office and say, you know what, I've got my group behind me and I'm not eating that crap. I'm going to eat healthy, and I'm going to work out, and I'm going to exercise, and I'm going to change the way you guys are thinking about health. I'm not going to come here meekly like I'm on a diet and feel like I'm an outcast. So, you know, she mentions a lot of great things on there. So, any of the other athletes have anything to want to like tell?